Saeed, if breatharianism was a thing, and if humans did not actually need food, and if our perfect original state was that of non-eating and feeding off subtler forms of energy, as you say in these videos, then why do people die? Why do people starve of death? Why is starvation such a thing? Look at all these kids in Africa dying of starvation. Look at all these people, they stop eating and they suddenly, like, they die. After a few weeks, they turn into, like, skeletons and they die. So, come on, okay, it sounds nice, in theory, it sounds nice. Yeah, okay. But come on, Said, like, we're living in different times now, and, like, come on, it doesn't make sense. We need food, don't we? We need food as human beings. I mean, look, we have a digestive system, it processes food, etc. Well, it also processes cocaine and other drugs. Anyway, that's something for a different video. So, why is that? Okay, so let's read this. I'm gonna read you guys something here, and we'll talk about it. So, man dies of hypothermia in an unplugged freezer. This is a pretty, actually, this is a popular story, okay? It's a popular story. It's a well-known story. You might have heard it before. A man dies of hypothermia in an unplugged freezer. A man locked in an unplugged freezer imagined himself freezing to death and died as a result. So, where's the story? There we go. A man finds himself locked in a walk-in freezer. He is convinced he will die and begins writing letters. His letters end with a final passage where he is saying he cannot write anymore because his fingers are beginning to freeze. When they find him dead, not only do they find the letters, but they discover that the freezer's temperature never dropped below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is still quite a bit above freezing. I think freezing is 32. I think so. You Americans, you've got to just get on with it and stop trying to be special. Just use Celsius, right? It makes sense. Zero freezing. It's an easy reference point. Anyway, thus the man pretty much psyched himself to death. Here, I'll read another account of it. The expression "worried to death" has more truth to it than you may think. There's a story about Nick Sitzman, a strong, young bull of a man who worked on a train crew. It seemed Nick had everything: a strong, healthy body, ambition, a wife, and 2 children, and many friends. However, Nick had one fault. He was a notorious warrior. He worried about everything and usually feared the worst. One midsummer day, the train crew were informed that they could quit an hour early in honor of the foreman's birthday. Accidentally, Nick was locked in a refrigerator, and the rest of the workmen left the site. Nick panicked. He banged and shouted until his fists were bloody and his voice was hoarse. No one heard him. If I can't get out, I'll freeze to death in here, he thought. Wanting to let his wife and family know exactly what had happened to him, Nick found a knife and began to etch words on the wooden floor. He wrote, "It's so cold, my body is getting numb. If I could just go to sleep, these may be my last words." The next morning, the crew slid open the heavy doors of the boxcar and found Nick dead. An autopsy revealed that every physical sign of his body indicated he had frozen to death. And yet the refrigeration unit of the car was inoperative, and the temperature inside indicated 55 degrees. Nick had killed himself by the power of worry. Boom. There is your answer. There is your answer. What is the first law? What is the first hermetic principle? What is it? All is mental. The principle of mentalism. The all is the mind, and everything is mental, and the all is mental, and everything is in the mind of the all. Mind creates matter. Mind precedes matter. Mind creates matter, right? That's the 3D is the manifestation of 4D. 4D is the manifestation of 5D. 5D is the manifestation of 6D. You get it. And each time you go up a level, it gets subtler and more mental. So, people starve to death. And we'll talk about kids also, right? People starve to death because the belief that human beings need physical sustenance, consuming physical things to survive is so unbelievably strong. So strong. Now it's written in the DNA because we've been doing it for a few thousand years now, since the fall of consciousness, maybe even more. Okay, it's now like, so a kid comes popping into this dimension expecting to eat, and the body simply adapts, right? So at some point, I suppose the mother as the nurturer, her body adapted in a way to actually give milk, because now the demand for food is created because the collective mental consciousness, which creates the reality, is now expecting to eat, and essentially wrote in the program, to survive one must eat physical food. And so that keeps getting written over and over and over and over until it becomes part of you. It feels instinctual now. Like, look, the animals instinctually eat, babies instinctually eat, right? Even the mother's breast gives food. It's like, we create this reality with our mind. So the collective now expects that for one to survive, one needs food to eat. And the program is so, this is why breatharianism is not easy, because you're going against the odds, because the odds in your DNA in every way are telling you to eat, because the program now of consuming physical foods is so deeply ingrained. But of course, that's causing early death, that's causing disease, that's causing you to sleep 8-9 hours every night. Whereas if you're a breatharian, which is your original true perfect state, you wouldn't need more than 3 hours. You'd be so full of energy. Kind of like when you take a tap of acid. That's the breatharian state right there. That's how I found out about the breatharian state. My trip was a psychedelic trip, because every time I took psychedelics, I didn't want to eat. I didn't feel like I need anything. I had this unbelievable energy. I was like, man, what is this? That's the potential, you see? So, or just think when you're in love with someone and you're in love with them, like, that's the energy. It's the love energy. It's the light energy, right? So we all experience it at some point or other. And so then, of course, that's the program. So the belief system, the collective belief system that human beings need to eat is what causes people to die and starve to death, kill themselves with their minds, because they stop eating and they freak out. I mean, you know, your mom told you need to eat this and that I mean, look, in the beginning phases when I stopped eating animals and eggs, right, and protein sources, it took me a lot of time to get there, because I grew up and I was a bodybuilder in my days, right? I was a bodybuilder, and you may argue, like, you still look pretty good, and you got a big chest, etc. Well, no, like, this is nothing. The people who followed me on fitness, you guys know how, like this, I had like giant, like this, like, I swear my titties in those days were bigger than like half the girls out there. No, I'm not even exaggerating here. Okay, so I grew up in that paradigm that you need protein, you need this, you need that to be big, to be strong, to be healthy, right? But go figure, on those times I was always tired, exhausted, had a lot of tension. Yeah, I looked buff, but that was all inflammation anyway, right? So it took me some time to leave that paradigm behind me, and here I am. I'm healthier, I look better, I feel more vibrant. I'm just as strong. Honestly, I'm just as strong. Maybe I'm not benching 2 plates in 25, but I feel stronger, like more functional strength, lighter, more agile, more flexible, and I still look pretty good, don't I? I'm not by any means a scrawny little malnourished vegan or something like that, right? Because I worked with the belief system, and before I let go of all these foods that are protein rich, when I took on, like 60% of the time, 70% of the time now, I just drink like juices, man. Like yesterday I just drank juices. Today I'll probably just drink juices too. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a little bit of solid foods. But for the most part, I'm not becoming super skinny or anything. I feel fantastic, So you work with the belief system first, because I know a guy, his name is Chris Manley. He's on Facebook. Wow. He's like level 3/level 4 Breatharian. Let me look him up now. There's Jericho Sunfire, level 3 Breatharian, just water. Jacked, ripped. Because they worked with their belief system, these people. You see? Chris Manley. I love this guy, man. His vibes. Okay. So I'm gonna get him on a podcast. I'll show you a picture of him. He's a level 3/level 4 Breatharian. I'm gonna send him this video. Wait, I wanna show you. He's a beast, man. He's a beast. Look at him. See? Look at him. Level 3/level 4. I think he talks about going for long periods with just dry. Because these guys work with the belief. You have to work with the belief system. Food has got nothing to do with sustaining. It's a drug. It's a drug. And some heroin addicts, they die when they stop heroin immediately. Because the withdrawal symptoms, that's what it is. The withdrawal symptoms are too strong. The belief that I need heroin is too strong. But with food, it's infinitely more stronger because, well, you're dealing with generational belief systems here. So they've been going on for many generations now. You're dealing with belief systems like, didn't your mom tell you, drink your milk, eat your eggs, eat this, eat that, eat more, you'll be stronger. When you got sick, what happened when you got sick? Instead of fasting, which is the way you're gonna heal, you got certain, here, eat this, eat that, that'll help you. Or eat more, it'll do this, it'll do that. You're feeling weak, eat more. Because what happens is it stimulates you for a few hours, and so you get this sense of, just like, look, you could be tired as hell, drink a cup of coffee, and you'll feel suddenly energized. It's a stimulant. Food is the same thing. It's a drug. It's no different than coffee. It's no different than heroin, right? It's a drug. It's a drug. So the belief, you're working with the belief here. So people starve because they believe they're going to starve. And the kids, they starve because kids are in many ways like animals. They're just running on instincts and programs. When you become an adult, then you have the conscious ability to change the programs and realize higher truths. Kids can't do that. Kids are working purely on instincts here. I know a lot of times we use kids as an example to follow. Like, look at kids, they're in a state of flow and they're authentic, right? We learn from them these things, but ultimately, they're still kids. They still don't know what's in the ultimate best interest. A kid sees fire and the kid will try to put their hands in it just to see if they're gonna get burned or anything. But as an adult, no, that's fire. If I know cause and effect, law of cause and effect, if I put my hands in it, it's gonna burn. So yes, kids, we can learn so much from them. We love being around them because they're so authentic and in the moment and in the flow. But they're not the ideal. Okay, they're not the ideal by any means. So kids are just operating on instinct. So they come in and they're dealing with this collective program, generational now, that you need food to survive. And they come in and then they're taught from right away. Like here is some milk. Here, put this in your mouth here. And then you grow up for 1 year, 2 years, and you're eating and you're drinking and this and that, and then so not only are you now dealing with the belief system programmed inside from generations, you're dealing with the one from this lifetime here, which is, well, you come in and the first thing that happens is here, eat, drink, right? So yeah, kids are just operating on instinct, just like animals. So yeah, the kids are operating with this program. They don't have the conscious ability to rise above it, like Vivekananda says. For a human being to be realized, a human being must rise above the laws of nature. The laws of nature are the programs. And right now we're dealing with this program. Just for whatever reason, consciousness fell, we began to eat, our lifespan went from 100,000 to less than 100. That's the program we're dealing with right now. And only as an adult you can rise above it. But as a child, you're gonna deal with the current program. And until we adults change the program, then we're gonna have actually kids that come in that are breatharian. Once the collective program installed is the Breatharian program, which in my opinion will take maybe 100 years or 200 years, not that long, because the consciousness is ascending again. So that's why kids starve to death, and that's why adults who stop eating but they have the lack mentality and they don't understand who they are, they don't know what is your consciousness. You are creating this. You're pure light creating this. And it is the life force that is sustaining you. because you can go without food for a week and go without sleep for a week. Okay, so you do an experiment for 1 week, you don't eat for 1 week, but you sleep, everything is good. Then you do an experiment for 1 week where you don't eat, you don't sleep, but you eat. 1 week you're gonna have a lot. The week where you didn't eat but slept, you're gonna have a lot more energy in that week, especially if you're already detoxed and your body's clean. You're actually gonna have so much energy. But if let's say you're still dealing with detox symptoms, still in that week where you don't eat but you sleep, you're gonna have a lot more energy than in the week where you eat but don't sleep. Because sleep is actually the most important thing. Why? Because you get cosmic energy, dark matter, the void. You go into the void, and so your body gets recharged with cosmic energy. So it's much more detrimental not to sleep than anything else. Why? Because actually what's sustaining you is this cosmic energy. So if you sleep and if you meditate, that's it. You got the cosmic energy. Then you don't need anything else because you're plugged into the cosmic energy. And if you're in service and if you're in love, then same thing. Like just recall the last time you were in love, madly in love with someone. You'll remember you didn't want to eat. You barely drank anything. You were just thinking about your sweetheart all the time. You were energized. You were looking at everything and seeing the beauty in everything and everyone because you're in love. That's what it is. That's what's sustaining you. That's what's nourishing you. That life force. That's the force. That's the Tao. And so everyone is a breatharian despite. So we're not alive, surviving, and in rare cases thriving because of food. We're doing it despite food. Despite food. It's a drug. We're drugged. This is like no different than going to an alternative earth, right? Here I am from this earth. Suddenly I close my eyes, I use instant transmission, and I'm in a parallel earth. And in this parallel earth, I'm looking around, I'm trying to get to know the culture in this earth, and it seems to me that 3 times a day, everyone here shoots heroin. Now, I'm looking and I'm like, what are you guys doing? This is ridiculous. But to them, well, hey man, that's how we get our energy 3 times a day. That's how we do it here. And this is the way it is. I mean, look, you can go to this country and that country, this side of the planet, that side of the planet. No matter where you go, everyone shoots heroin 3 times a day. It's the way we do it. And you're like, what the fuck? You guys got mad? You guys are all massively drugged. Of course, you say that, and you either get burned at the stake or shot back into your earth, this earth, because nobody wants to do anything with you. You're ruining the party. You're ruining the fun. Nobody wants to be around that guy. That's ruining everyone's party, right? I mean, that's what they did to Socrates. They poisoned him because he was ruining everyone's party. Well, if you were coming from the parallel earth that is the original perfected earth with the perfected humans on it, the Breatharian human, if you were coming from that parallel earth right here and you used instant transmission and you came here, you would have the exact same reaction that somebody from this earth would to a parallel earth where everyone shoots heroin 3 times a day for sustenance because everyone thinks that's the food. It's the same thing. You come from a parallel earth, from the perfected parallel earth, and you come here and you're like, what are you guys doing here? Why are you eating this? Why are you putting this stuff in your body 3 times a day? Don't you know what it's doing to you? No different. No different. Okay, now the program gets written, and so we kill ourselves with our mind. Now that's what starvation is. That's what starvation is. It's killing ourselves with our belief system. Killing ourselves with our beliefs, with our mind, because our mind creates our reality. No way around it. The mind creates matter. The mind creates reality. It's just the way it is. So, I would say the most important thing on the Breatharian path, and it is a path, this is such a strong belief system that it is a process. Some Breatharians out there, like Jericho Sunfire, Actually, in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary, but I understand it perfectly. He recommends a 15-year transition from eating to breatharianism. Level 3, which is just water. He recommends 15 years. I don't think it's necessary, but I totally understand. The belief is so strong that we need drugs, we need food, physical sustenance to survive. That this is a path. And you have to work with where you're at in the path and how strong is your belief system? How strong is your attachment to this drug? How strong is it? Now you could work with the earth energies now, the ascension energies, and that'll quicken the process for you. But it is a process, and if I'm eating meat right now, I would work on getting to fish. I would do it the turtle method, slow and steady. Unless you have a mind and you have a will, a certain will in you that can do drastic things, then maybe you work with that energy. I prefer the turtle method. So if I'm eating meat right now, I would just go to fish. That's how it happened to me spontaneously, happening. I just suddenly dropped meat. I didn't even know about any of this breatharian shit. I don't know, I dropped meat. I was eating fish every day for like 2 years. Then I dropped it 3 times a week. And then I dropped it just eggs. I said I want to be vegetarian. For no reason, by the way. I was like, you know what, I don't know. It's like an instinctual thing almost. Like, all right. Not instinctual, but spontaneous, let's say. Because, just spontaneous. It was like, all right, I think I'm just going to eat eggs. And I ate eggs. Then I dropped them. So it was like happening. And now I'm seeing the process unfold. I'd say 1 out of 2 days or 1 out of 3 days or 2 out of 3 days now. It's just for me fruit juices. Spontaneously, by the way. I'm not counting. It's just like, it's just spontaneous. Right? I could see that it's leading up to at least level 3 breatharianism in the future. So you work with the process. All right, work with the process. Right? Just work with the process. Slowly, little by little. Do it the turtle method. Because you really are dealing with a beast here. You're dealing with a beast of a belief system here. You're dealing with a massive lie here. Not only have you been programmed with it this life, but you're carrying it in the DNA, in DNA's information. You're carrying that belief system, that curse. It's a curse. You're carrying that curse in every part of you, in your blood veins. And so work with it and work on the belief system there. The best thing to do is to experience higher energy. There are so many different ways. Go to a flotation tank, and if you do it regularly and consistently, you will feel this instantaneous, like you'll be like, wow, like, man, I feel so great. I feel so light. I don't even want to eat right now. You don't even think about eating food at that point, right? The way it happened for me was the use of psychedelics. Over and over and over. Every time I did it, I was like, man, I'm God. Like, there's so much energy. And then I'd go, and then later in the evening I would eat just out of habit, and then after eating, my energy goes down. Like, what? I didn't even really want to eat. I'm just eating because that's what I'm programmed to do. But every time I dabbled with psychedelics, and I would feel this incredible surge of energy, this God energy, no need, no lack, perfection, fulfillment. And then for me, when I heard about breatharianism and how humans don't need food and it's a lie and it's blah, I was like, fuck, this makes so much sense. Right? And I'm like, that's what I've been experiencing on psychedelics all this time. You see? So there's different ways to experience it. Fall in love with someone. Right there. Just fall in love with someone. Right now, go and fall in love with someone. Be in love with them. And watch the process. Same thing. Oh man, everything is beautiful. It is so light. I don't want to eat. You see food, even if you eat like 2 bites and you're like, that's it. Right? Because you got to experience this, folks. If you experience this and you know the potential and the possibility, then it's a different ball game. Then much easier to change your belief system that way. As opposed to, I get it, Saeed, but I feel like shit right now. I feel tired, I feel miserable. I'm working, I'm in the matrix. Right, so begin to change your lifestyle. Begin to lighten it up in every way. And then when you begin to experience higher energy states, then you know, because you realize it. It's an intrinsic knowledge. Intrinsic. It's implicit. It's inner. And then you're like, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm gonna work with this process now. I'm gonna work on just increasing the energy, more meditation, more relaxed lifestyle, do what I love in life, etc. It's very important to be relaxed. If you're stressed in pursuing these higher states of consciousness, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Okay. And yeah, you work with this curse. It is a curse. It's a belief system can be a blessing or a curse. This is a curse. This is black magic. This is black magic. Okay. So yeah, hopefully you got something out of this video. Big shout out to my man Chris Manley, such an inspiration. I'm gonna read you guys before we finish this video. I'm gonna read you guys one thing that he wrote. Okay, so gotta get you on the podcast, my man Chris. Okay, there we go. I commented under a YouTube video on needing to nourish the body and being told that the body needs what we are told we need because science with this. So this is his reply. I lived off of almost nothing but urine for 7 months in 2016. That cleanest liquid in our body, more accurately called urine, plasma, ultrafiltrate, contains all of the ingredients we are made up of, including all living stem cells, aminos, proteins, nutrients, minerals. Not only did I live, but I thrived, transformed myself into, at age 49-50, the healthiest version of me ever. And I was wrestling, surfing, boxing, martial arts athlete in high school. And in my 20s, I was still in better conditioning, consuming nothing more than my own water. I did some sun gazing, but that does not explain how I thrived while doing this. My urine somehow continued to seemingly nourish me, but I discovered it was something else. I ran for 4 to 10 miles almost daily, worked out intensely in CrossFit style, but doing lots of plyometric jumping and leaping pull-ups, well over 100 of those daily, among much more activity, during this urine fast. Since then, June 2018, I discovered that I could do the same and not even need to drink water or much less eat. After doing this, I discovered Hilton Hutima's book. That's the book I'm reading to you guys here. But he did all of this before reading it. So, he discovered it in an inner process. And I guess the book confirmed it for him. Man's Higher Consciousness, where he quotes mainstream scientists in proving that food is nothing but a stimulant, a drug, an addiction, which it is, and that our cells are nourished by gases in the air, being catalyzed by the electricity in our bodies to create our blood. I have, for myself, proven this as I have hiked difficult mountains, up to 16 miles, 5,000 feet vertical in one morning, while in dry state of no food or water for 3 days, and have done all kinds of other activities while in that no food or drink, zero ingestion state for up to 9 days. I do not concern myself with what corporately paid guys in lab coats says, but what my kid-like body at 51 years of age, quote unquote, tells me. I still live with mostly no food. I'm describing the last almost 4 years as a whole. Have had periods of eating, but eating very little and only for pleasure. Never any needs, hunger, etc. The proof is within and all around us. The secret is coming out though, as some are now creating food from thin air and electricity. Beautiful. Very, very inspirational. Very, very inspirational. So, yeah, I'd love to bring Chris on the podcast, and so I'll send him this video and we'll talk. But yeah, lots more people now doing this for themselves, and everyone's going to be on a different path, and everyone's going to be on a different part of it. Like some people are coming to realize this in early parts of their life, others are later. Some are transforming so quickly, they do like a 10-day process or initiation and bang. Others will take more of their time. I take more of my time. Right now, this stage, I'm not even thinking about this stuff much anymore. It's just happening. Now I'm just kind of spontaneously going into liquids, much like I spontaneously left meats behind and then fish and then eggs. But it wasn't like overnight. When I left meats, I was eating fish for 2 years. Then when I left fish, I was eating eggs for another year. So, or not a year, maybe 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. It didn't last too long. But you see, now I'm still eating maybe once every other day, once every 3 days, solids, but I'm doing liquids like juices, and I could see it at some point being just juices, and then I'll probably go into like water and juices. It's just not. I'm not even like really doing too much work here anymore. I'm just letting it happen. I know I saw the process unfolding. I'm like, yeah, like that's clearly leading me up to that. And so yeah, so it's gonna be different. Some people can do it like this, 10 days, man. Let's go. Initiation. That's it. Others, for most of us, I think the slow and steady process. Okay, like I said, we're working with a massive with black magic here. We're really working with black magic. We're working with a massive curse here, right? So some compassion for ourselves as we do this. Some patience. You want to go eat this, eat it. You want to go experience this, experience it. Get it out of your system. Get it out of your system. It's very important. All right? Compassion, patience, because once you realize this knowledge, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. And if you start to work with the ascension energies now and you begin to realize that there is an ascension process, it'll happen even quicker. Okay? So thank you to the Patreons for your support. And shout out to everybody who's, living this truth, sharing this knowledge, doing the best they can. If you want to support this community, all your donations, whether it's via PayPal or Patreon, go towards the off-grid project that we're working on at the moment. So I have a link in the Patreon, link down below. You could donate $2 a month. You could do a one-time donation on PayPal, whatever amount you feel like. Thank you to all the generous people who continue to support. Love you guys. And Saeed Mubayed on Instagram if you have any video requests or anything like that. And until next time, may the force be with you.